Hello, Musto0063 back again to continue on with Mega Man 8. And with all 8 Roadmasters out of the way, I can now finally enter Dr. Wily's fortress. But just before I do, now is probably a good time to show off a couple of quick things. And first up is the shop. So all those bolts I've been collecting throughout the game serve as a currency, and as I mentioned back in part 1, there are only a limited number scattered across the game, and it's not possible to buy every upgrade like it was in Mega Man 7, where bolts were being dropped by enemies. I only collected 11, so I'm not going to be able to buy much, but you can see the kinds of upgrades on offer. We've got decreased knockback, additional starting lives, 5 Mega Buster shots instead of 3, weapon energy balancer, option to exit a screen early if beating the boss, climb ladders faster, seriously, automatic shooting, arrow shot or laser shot replacing charge shot, weapon energy saver, additional health and weapon energy recovery, number of lives recovery, sped up sliding, life weapon energy exchanger, sped up Mega Buster, 3 Mega Buster shots fired at a time instead of 1, and shortened charge shot time. Now, some of these are pretty useless, but in my opinion the best two that I could afford are Super Recover, so increased health and weapon energy recovery, and Boost Pass, so sped up Mega Buster. I'd also recommend the Hyper Speed Charge, shortened charge shot time, and the Power Shield, decreased knockback, if you can afford them. And I'm sure some of the others could also be useful, but they just really don't appeal to me. And as for the faster sliding or ladder climbing, please. Why would you ever need those? And second up are the Rush upgrades. So let's have a look at Rush Cycle. Rush transforms into a motorcycle, which you can ride, smash into enemies, shoot at them with more powerful bullets, etc, etc. It also absorbs damage that Mega Man would have otherwise taken. Now you do only get to use it for a limited time, and you will notice under Mega Man's life counter there's a timer counting down from 40, so pick a decent moment to use it. As indeed would I suggest for all these Rush upgrades. So now let's have a look at Rush Charger. Definitely the most boring of all the upgrades. Rush just teleports in and drops a random power-up. It's usually a pretty good one, and apparently sometimes it's even the refill everything power-up seen way back in Mega Man 1. Although I'm not sure I've ever been lucky enough to get that one. Eventually, next up is Rush Bomber. Rush flies overhead and bombs the crap out of whatever happens to be on screen at the time. Of course, it would be helpful if I were on a part of the screen that actually had enemies in order to demonstrate it properly, but you get the idea. It's very powerful and destroys pretty much all minor enemies in one hit. But as with Rush Cycle, it does run on a timer. And last up is definitely the most useful upgrade, at least in my opinion, Rush Health. Rush again flies overhead, but this time drops a crap ton of health and weapon energy. Now it too is on a timer, but seriously, if you can't refill pretty much everything in the time that Rush flies overhead, something's gone wrong. Unless of course you get hit immediately after all the energy disappears. Sigh. But with that now out of the way, it's time to press on with Wily Fortress, finally. And bring on Wily 1. So you know how I've been complaining pretty much through the rest of the game that the levels are just that little bit too long? Probably coming from a perfect run point of view, but yeah. Finally, Wily 1 answers my prayers. This is by far, I would say, the shortest level of the game. So that could only be good news, right? Right? Bloody hell, this level, despite its short length, is by far the most annoying in the game, no question. So we start off in a boarding section, no longer a snowboarding section because there's no snow around. But unlike the ones in Frost Age, this one is, far more annoying. For starters, you seem to have way too many annoying enemies, so the giant tellies dropping little bombs on you, the rabbits that come from the right hand side of the screen and the left hand side of the screen really quickly to surprise you. You've got lots and lots of birds who, although don't do any damage, do obscure your vision with all the clouds and everything. The jump, jump, slide, slide reactions have to be so good here, particularly the jump, jump ones, because the gaps between some of these platforms are freaking enormous. I suggest that kind of you need to stay on the left-hand side and then, you know, try and give yourself as much time as possible to react to the big gaps on the jumps you have to make, but oh my god, so freaking annoying. Usually die on there a whole lot. Somehow I got through that first go. I had a really lucky run. I didn't even actually get hit there. I'm going to screw up on the rest of the level, don't you worry. But yeah, to get through that bit on the first kind of go without getting hit was immensely lucky. I hate that section so much. And of course, after it, you think, well, okay, now we're out of the woods. But, oh yay! We've got the Thunderclaw trapeze sections. And as you can see here, if timing and positioning's not quite right, you'll mess up your weapon and it'll miss the trapeze and you'll screw up. And of course, when you're having to do it over giant gaps, that's going to be a big problem. So for this last little bit, there's an enormous gap, so I would aim for the gold-looking trapeze there, because you only have to use your Thunderclaw once. If you have to use your Thunderclaw twice, or I have to, where I'm trying to swing, set off, and then get the timing right so I hit the trapeze again, I usually always screw up, and it's why I never even bother really going for the bolt in Search's stage, because I always seem to mess up. Yeah. Trapeze sections with Thunderclaw. My least favourite weapon, my least favourite gimmick, and they put it in Wily 1. Oh, yay. And they also put probably my least favourite boss in the entire game in Wily 1 as well. Screw this worm thing. So, after a certain point in time here, because I'm having an absolute nightmare trying to hit the bloody thing, I just decided, yeah, okay, my health is fairly low. I came into it not at full, admittedly, but still, it's a fairly poor show on my part. So by this point in time, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to do this. Let's just tank the fight, and we'll start again afresh with a full health bar, and maybe things will go a little bit better. So, time to have a proper fight, and for those of you eagle-eyed, if you look across to my life counter, you'll note that I was at 4, or 5 since it goes down to 0, and I'm now at 2, or 3 since it goes down to 0, so yay! I had a run or the last go, where I died again. Now, I'll spare you the agony from my part of actually watching that rubbish. But yeah, now we can finally talk about this boss. So basically, the worm comes down from one of the 4 kind of gaps in the ceiling. You have to use Mega Ball in order to hit it. There's absolutely no real chance of being able to hit it with anything else. So yeah, get out the Mega Ball and just try and position yourself on the ground so that you kick the Mega Ball and it goes up one of the 4 areas. Obviously to hit it. Now the problem is, as you can kind of see here, it is incredibly easy for the Mega Ball just to bounce off the edge or the bottom of one of these little areas at the top, miss the target completely and screw up. And yeah, and that means by doing that you kind of can put completely off. The bloody capsules that it kind of fires down are incredibly annoying to dodge. Sometimes it shoots out missiles, sometimes it shoots projectiles along the ground, sometimes it shoots out its own versions of, I don't want to say Mega Balls, but this attack where they kind of bounce over you. Sometimes it throws decoys at you, so it will throw, it will have another kind of worm with a skull on it, which is reasonably easy to kind of detect which one is the correct one to hit and which one's the wrong one to hit. But still, it's so freaking hard sometimes just to get the right position for the Mega Ball in order to go up these shafts. So often at the time it will hit the bottom of the bloody edge and just bounce off harmlessly away. Oh my god, I hate this boss so much. If you do actually try to use rush health as well, I mean, eventually you will get healed, but what tends to happen is that the bloody health and the weapon energy gets stuck at the top of the screen on the corners of the edges, so it doesn't even come down, drops you. By which point in time you might have taken the extra hit and died. Oh my god. Most annoying boss in the game, most annoying level in the game, most annoying stage by a million miles. But thankfully it is only Wily 1 and it's now out of the way. Okay, so hopefully that's the end of the negativity. Got Wily 1, the worst stage of the game, out of the way. Bring on Wily 2, bring on the fun. Now unfortunately, and I do think my lack of familiarity with this game is going to cost me here, I don't have a terribly good time on the rest of the Fortress stages, but nothing irritates me too much. It's just more so getting hit on enemies really rather than anything being overly difficult. So Wily 2 is kind of split into 2 bits. first section is kind of like a tower climbing section, so we have a lot of ladders we have to climb. I didn't get the climbing ladders faster boost, so unfortunately it's going to take a little bit longer for me to clear than it otherwise would have been. Shame that. But yeah, we've got lots of those wall enemies that kind of spit out pellet shots, so basically kind of like, get to their horizontal position, shoot at them, and then they'll probably get a shot off at you, so you want to kind of climb down the ladder to avoid their shot, and then you can safely proceed. We've also got these shield attacker enemies, so wait until they are going in the opposite direction to you, and pummel away at them. You obviously won't be able to hit them when they're coming towards you, because the shields will block your attacks. So at the end of the ladder climbing section, we then actually end up with a bit of a drop down section. So we've got a few Sniper Joes that we have to take out. And eventually, when I stopped messing up all my jumps, didn't get hit there, which was incredibly lucky, we're going to find that we have a kind of a bomb section, or a ground destruction section that's kind of comes from a grenade man stage. So yeah, we have a really annoyingly placed Sniper Joe there, because unfortunately whenever I'd like to take him out here, but whenever he kind of stands still and shoots the projectile, or shoots his pellet shots, he also actually destroys the ground that I'm kind of standing on, which is a little disorientating. So ideally you probably want to take out that Sniper Joe as quick as possible, but still, it's not too bad. And that brings us to the end of the first half of Wily 2. So the second half of Wily 2, we get another Rush Jet section, which is obviously borrowed heavily from Tengu's stage. I wouldn't say this is necessarily any easier than Tengu's stage areas. If anything, it's probably a little bit harder because it just probably throws a few more enemies at you. Admittedly, not at the beginning. It's when it kind of goes through kind of like a narrow path section, which we'll see later on, that it starts throwing lots of enemies at you. And again, my unfamiliarity with the game leads me to kind of like just end up running into enemies, because I'm very conscious that there's a certain area where I need to really rush so I don't get crushed. But I end up going way too fast for my own good and end up just crashing into loads of enemies. You can obviously see it happening here. I've now taken 2 shots from unnecessary pellet shots from those enemies. You can take another one here. Oh, I don't actually take one there. Amazing. There it is. Anyway, the section where I have to rush doesn't yet come. And I got tanked by a giant ship there. So I was too low from trying to deal with the worm enemies. But here we go. This is a section I'm kind of aiming toward. Well, I try and go too fast and I get hit by God knows how many bubble bats along the way. So yeah, if I'd known this area, or been much more familiar with it, I would have just held back a bit, shot the bats, made sure my path was clear, and then legged it. I don't think it's like you have to be that quick in order to get through that section, but it is a bit of a slalom, and you do have to kind of, not dilly-dally in order to get through. But yeah, good news was I got the super health upgrade from the shop, so that little health icon at the end of the level meant that my, despite the terrible job I did during the Rush Jet segment, that 1 health pickup meant that I'm pretty much at the boss with full health. Not that it's a terribly difficult boss, but still. It does take a little while to wing its way in as well. So there's a bit of kind of like, I'm going to say cutscene or anything like that, but you're there kind of just hanging around for 10-20 seconds while not much happens. But finally, here we go. This is Blyking, or Bleaking, not quite sure exactly how you pronounce it. And it's insanely weak to Astro Crush. So you only actually get 4 goes with the Astro Crush, but that should be enough to kill it. So it has quite a few attacks. It can fire lasers at you. Obviously you want to try and be in between the lasers. In between the middle section there is obviously quite a good place to go. It also shoots some of these like pink bomb missiles, which you just want to kind of avoid. It also shoots missiles that go kind of home in on you as well, but essentially wait for him to attack, find a good position to be safe on the screen, and unleash Astro Crush. When its wings are kind of expanded out to the side, that's its weak spot, that's the only place you can hit. You can obviously still kill it with the Mega Buster or other weapons, but I mean Astro Crush just fills the screen, and all the meteors just come crashing down all over the place and completely annihilate the thing. Pretty easy boss, that one. And that's good coming after Wily 1. And that brings us to Wily 3. This is going to be the last level I tackle in this video, because Wily 4, spoiler, it's going to be a boss rush, so it's going to take a long time. Also, there's going to be a giant cutscene at the end of the game, and also the credits and all the other post wrap-up that I want to do at the end. So yeah, Wily 4 and all the wrap-up stuff's going to take quite a while, so yeah, we'll call this at the end of Wily 3 a video. And for the most part, or at least the first half of this level, it's pretty much going to be a countdown bomb section. You also have quite a few of the gorillas in this area. And again, a lot of these wall-hanging enemies that spit out the projectiles, and also these spinning capsule type enemies. But yeah, here we go to a count bomb section, and this bit's kind of fun. You have to try and obviously make your way up, and I managed to, I don't know whether the timing was just slightly off there, but I managed to pull off a really impressive dodge, or I thought it was quite impressive, because a tiny little gap there, and I managed to just avoid the little goop that got fired at me, and also make the jump across the between the two countdown bombs. So I was very happy with that. These friggin' annoying enemies. I hate the Bumby tanks. Oh god. So now we get a little, a more countdown bomb section. Less of a climb, obviously not really a climb this bit, but more just kind of moving across to the right and making sure that we make full distance so that we don't land on the spikes. Terribly timed there, by the way. And in case you're wondering, that gorilla would always throw a rock there because you have to use that in order to make it up to the ladder. So yeah, don't worry about the giant gap between what looked like the end of the countdown bomb there and safety. The gorilla would always throw a big boulder there for you to stand on in order to make the jump. Mid-boss time. Mega Man, you can't escape this time. Base, stop it! I don't want to fight with you. You're so naive. That will be your downfall. I'm not the same weakling anymore. I've got new powers. No way! No! You don't know how dangerous it is! Shut up. I'll defeat you. Come on, Treble.
Come on, Treble!
Let's do it. I'll show you what true power is. No, that's not power. I must prove you are wrong again, Base. So, Base and Treble merge together, although, as in Mega Man 7, although this time he gets the added little boost of evil energy. And this is a fun fight. Apologies, I'm going to do a terrible job on it. Again, familiarity. But yeah, I'll try and walk through his attacks. So, I think that's to do this next one. I'll start from there. So he can go to the middle of the platform. He can also drop down on you, really annoyingly. So try not to stand underneath him. But yeah, he can go to the middle and summon these kind of plasma balls down from the ceiling. If you know where to stand, it's reasonably straightforward to dodge. You want to get in between, obviously, the gap and then move between the gap when the other ones come down. If you're standing in the wrong position when the first one comes down, it can be a little tricky. He can also drop to the floor and shoot 3 energy pellets, a bit more than pellets, but yeah, energy balls at you. You just kind of want to, jump in between them. He also has that rather nice laser attack, and you wanted to dodge that by completely not doing what I did. So yeah, get to the middle of the screen, see which side of the screen he teleports in, or he kind of comes in on, and then slide to the opposite side of the screen. Yeah, do not get in the corner and try mucking around there. If you go to a particular corner, odds are he'll come down on that side of the screen and he'll get you with a laser. So yeah, hang around in the middle, wait to see which side of the screen he appears on, and then make your way over to the other side. It's a fun little fight. I say I do a terrible job on it, partly lack of familiarity again, partly just screwing up horribly, but yeah, it's a really kind of fun fight. It's pretty easy as well, frankly, given some of the difficult fights Mega Man 7 we had when Bass and Treble, or when they're fighting Bass, or indeed Bass and Treble, when they merge together. And he's also got the evil energy here, but yeah, pretty easy fight actually. You can't beat me with fake power. Wake up, Bass. Curse you, Mega Man. I'll never give up. Bass, why don't you understand? Apologies again for my terrible voice acting. I'm obviously deliberately trying to do Mega Man in the style of the game, but yeah. Bass is a bit more difficult. Anyway, yeah, that was only the midpoint, so yeah, we've got a nice little rest of the level to do, and that looked rather silly, didn't it? But it was rather effective. So, yeah, I'm sure you can probably slide under those things. I don't know why I'm not doing that. You obviously can jump over them like that, but it's obviously going to be far harder to actually attack the enemy in the first place. So, yeah, but whatever you prefer. And as I say, we now get the kind of area with gorillas. This ladder is actually really difficult to get to, just with any kind of extra boost or anything like that. It just seems to be slightly out of range, but yeah, it's not like you're going to, provided you hang back or hang to the left if you, or move to the left if you don't get it, then you'll survive. So it's not like you miss it and you'll die, so that's always good. And I decided to get an extra life there because I'm pretty confident that I'm probably not going to do the boss this go. In fact, we'll kind of see after a certain point in time. I'd again decide, well, I'm so low on health that I'm just going to tank and start again from full health because I don't really fancy my chances, and I still get hit more. I think I do actually pick up some extra health, but yeah, not enough to feel like the boss is going to go all that well. Party Ball might have given me some extra health, in which case I would have given it a real go, but no. What did it drop? Weapon energy. Great. Well, that looks familiar, doesn't it? It's another devil boss. This one, the Green Devil. And wouldn't you know it, unfortunately, his weakness is Thunderclaw. Now, admittedly, it's not quite such a big deal this time because I'm not having to swing on trapezes and there's no pits or spikes I'm going to fall in. So yeah, it's not the best weapon weakness for him to have, but given the situation here, it's not the worst. And yeah, I mucked around at the beginning there and I thought, nah, I'm not going to do it. So yeah, I'll take the hit, restart with a full health bar, and we'll go ahead again, probably this time. When you do actually have to hit him, so you'll kind of see at the beginning of the fight I do kind of muck around a bit with the Mega Buster. Particularly at the very beginning, you don't quite seem to, there seems to be a bit of a delay, or there seems to be a bit less time to be able to actually hit him, so I just decided not to waste my Thunderclaw right at the beginning, because you do have to fire through the goop, as you'll kind of see here, in order to reach him. I don't know why I was shooting his feet there, that just seems ridiculous, but yeah, you do have to, kind of shoot the goop to get it out of the way so you can actually attack him in the first place. But anyway, talking about his attacks, he has, well, 3 main ones, but a big variant on one of them, which I'll try and get into a little bit later. One of them he doesn't actually do during this fight, so yeah, a little bit of apologies for that, but not really my fault. He actually did it during the previous fight, so, on the one I just tanked, it was a move I actually died on, where he kind of like had a tidal wave going across the screen, so what you kind of want to do for that is hang around on and see which kind of edge of the screen he appears on, and then kind of stay there for a little bit, and then kind of slide off to the other side of the screen. You'll avoid the tidal wave. The hitbox for where it's going to attack is a little bit weird, but so once you get the hang of it, how that works, it's really not too bad. So yeah, now finally I break out the Thunderclaw, and yeah, just keeping an eye on his health bar on the right hand side of the screen, you can see how easily or how much this weapon absolutely creams him. But his other attacks, so which we'll see, and you can do it again here, is the Goo Spike attack, where he kind of where the eye kind of hovers in the middle of the screen, and the spike kind of comes up from the ground. It's reasonably easy to kind of see and predict where they're going to come up, so just, be a little bit careful, slide and jump out the way, it's really not too bad. His last attack, he has several variants that he could do of it. He actually, and again, we'll only get to see him do one here, is the one that I'm probably all familiar with from his Mega Man 1 and Mega Man 3 days, where he'll split into the kind of like the little balls and then move from side to side. So yeah, it's kind of difficult to avoid with of course, despite the fact I've got a slide. Here he just kind of like moves one set, he was on the left hand side of the screen and moved to the right. Sometimes he can split apart so he's on both sides of the screen, and the balls move from both sides of the screen. That one could be a pain to dodge. But yeah, he has lots of variants on that kind of ball attack, but yeah, he only did the one here, so yeah, probably not the best from showing off all his moves, but nah. That's the Green Devil out of the way, that's Wily 3 out of the way, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and I shall see you next time for Wily 4 and the finale of Mega Man 8. Cheerio.